Welcome our metal brethren of the Forge. It's time to talk about our favorite heavy metal records of 2020. Sometimes it's great to get back to your metal roots, raise those horns, and worship the old school. This list is exactly about that. Fantastic heavy metal records that embrace the elements of some of the greatest days in metal history and clearly being influenced by the classics. If you like content like this, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more top lists, reviews, reactions, and interviews. What are some of your favorite heavy metal records from this year? Let us know in the comments. Let's get to our picks. First on my list is Spell, Opulent, Decay, released April 10th, 2020. Easily one of the most surprising metal albums of 2020. Spell have released something extremely special here with their catchy songwriting, witty compositions, and massive attention to detail throughout the making of Opulent Decay. The band has an immense passion for all things old school, even down to their look and how they've recorded Opulent Decay on tape. I've spun this record so many times this year, and it's easily a contender for my album of the year list. If you like your heavy metal on the witchy side, this is an album that you cannot miss. Here's a clip from Opulent Decay. Head on over to their Bandcamp page and pick up some merch. They've got vinyl, CDs, and shirts and other bundles for sale. Support these Canadian metal gods because they're onto something pretty goddamn amazing.
Man, you beat me to that pick. That Spell album is absolutely stellar. The production is such a throwback with a very classic rock sort of touch to it. The songwriting is fantastic, infectious, with a lot of headbanging, fist-pumping moments. Spell has definitely made lifelong fans out of us over here at Metal Forge Reviews. So I didn't really listen to a lot of traditional heavy metal albums this year. I know that's in your wheelhouse, Brandon, but for me, I didn't put a lot of those on my radar. So I'm going to put a focus on albums that are kind of more power metal oriented. You know, I think cousins of the traditional heavy metal sort of vibe. So the first album on this list for me is Spires' Emerald Seas. This is a wonderful album from these supremely talented Berklee College of Music grads. It's balanced with moments of aggressive brutality and soaring beauty. Spires is a band that knows their capabilities. They know just when to get out of the way of their fellow bandmates for a solo or a bridge section, and when to lock in and be the well-oiled machine that they are. Here's a clip from the video, Drowner of Worlds. This album is epic in every fashion of the sense. Spires doesn't just deliver with immense talent. They're also great songwriters and pretty decent folks. We've had the opportunity to play with them when live shows were still a thing. Definitely check out Emerald Seas if you haven't already.
Next on my list is Sorcerer, Lamenting the Innocent. Sorcerer are a special band. I really got into these guys back in 2018 with their release of The Crowning of the Fire King, but this release of Lamenting the Innocent was honestly even better in my opinion. Fantastic production, upbeat songwriting, and absolutely amazing riffs, catchy vocal hooks and solos. This album has everything that you would want in a heavy metal record. They're technically a band that leans more on the doom side, but the compositions on Lamenting of the Innocent push this record into a traditional territory for me. We had the pleasure of interviewing Justin Biggs, the bass player of the band, about recording the album. So if you want to hear some of their process and things like that, there's a link in the description. I've spun this record more times than I can count, and it's easily a highlight of 2020. Here's a clip from The Hammer of Witches. You can support Sorcerer on their Bandcamp page or wherever Metal Blade Records sells their merch. They have a ton of CDs, LPs, other great things to grab. Absolutely fantastic album. Give it a spin.
So my next pick is Falconer from A Dying Ember. It makes me sad to know that Falconer will no longer be a band, but they are leaving us with a very powerful swan song for their final album, From a Dying Ember. The Swedish power metal outfit was formed from the black metal band Mythotin. I love the direction that Falconer has gone over the years. They're so focused on incredible riffing, infectious vocal hooks, and storytelling that would make a bard jealous. The album is full of surprises with unexpected twists and turns. Falconer's team of songwriters are really masterful and know just how to keep their listener engaged and hanging onto their every note or riff. Here's a clip from Desert Dreams.
Rest my weary head as I close my eyes to sleep. Yet the demons once
Man, it makes me kind of sad to think these guys are done, but they've gone out with a bang. And this is the perfect resolution to their storied career. Rest in power, Falconer.
Next on my list is Eternal Champion, Ravening Iron. This album was released on November 20th, 2020. This album was one of the most anticipated records of 2020 for me and a lot of the metal scene. It has phenomenal old school production, easily one of the best in that whole sword and sorcery traditional heavy metal releases in terms of the production and mixing. Fantastic instrumentation and vocal hooks all over this album. I feel like Eternal Champion are starting to carry that torch for Cirith Ungol and Sound of Persona, even though that they're still together. The dungeon delving and fantasy elements elevate this record to a whole nother place, and the album artwork is great. It reminds me of the old school sword and sorcery artwork like Frank Frazetta and things like that. The album gets better from beginning to end, easily a highlight of 2020 and album of the year list contender for me. Here's a clip from SKULLSEEKER. You can support Eternal Champion on their Bandcamp page. It looks like everything is sold out, but honestly, they will probably do reprints given how quickly the merch has moved.
Goldenhall's Collide is next for me. Seeing a talented band like Goldenhall come from such a small corner of the world like Rhode Island just makes me proud to have been born and raised in that little state. Brandon and I know what it's like to pour blood, sweat, tears, and finances into an album and to just send it out into the great wide open when it's all said and done. Goldenhall's first full-length Collide seems to have taken that approach. To very little fanfare, this brilliant record was released back in September. If you're a fan of epic symphonic power metal driven by a powerful baritone vocalist, this record is right up your alley. Goldenhall's modern sonic qualities allow them to showcase a plethora of instruments, all while engaging the listener in masterful songwriting and monumental storytelling. The orchestral arrangements on this record are stunning, and it really heightens the symphonic aspects of this band. The last time I showcased Goldenhall, I played a clip from my favorite track, Into the Infinite. Today I'm going to give you a clip from the closing track, Absolution. Goldenhall's Collide totally deserves a spot on this year-end heavy and power metal list. They released a fantastic album that truly deserves your support. You can buy digital copies of their record on Bandcamp, and I hope you do. Who knows? With some funds, they could probably release some pretty sweet merchandise, and I'd love to sport a Goldenhall t-shirt. Wouldn't you?
Last on my list is Haunt Mind Freeze, released January 5th, 2020. Trevor Church, and the founder of the band, is a complete workhorse and has done multiple releases in 2020. But it was Mind Freeze that constantly hit my rotation this year. Trevor also released Flashback in July of 2020, which is also a really great album. I personally connected a lot more with Mind Freeze, but you can't go wrong with either. Mind Freeze has amazing riffs and old school production, extremely catchy choruses and songwriting. It's one of my favorite releases of the year. Another element that I loved about this was the synth elements. It added to that 80s old school vibe for me. I thought it added a cool dimension to the songwriting too. We did a review of this record on our channel earlier before that was the time of the plague. If you want to check it out, the link is in the description. Here's a clip from Mind Freeze. You can support Haunt on their Bandcamp page where they have a ton of merch available. Definitely support these guys. They're completely do-it-yourself, and the amount of passion put into this project is completely staggering.
This was one of the earliest albums that we covered, and it has absolutely stood up as being one of the best of the year. Kudos to Trevor Church for killing it and just releasing more music, because that's really what people want right now. We want to be focused more on music and allowing art to be our escapism from this dreaded reality that we are experiencing. You've been watching Metal Forge Reviews. We've got plenty more content that covers metal music. At this time, as you can see, we're focusing on the best of the year lists, so be sure to go through our page and scroll through the playlist to see more organized view of our segments. We have new videos that are going to be coming out on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings right here on our YouTube. Thanks for watching. Forge on, friends.